today's topic, it's going to be the next operations with rational expressions. It will be addition and subtraction. So first we need to remember how to add or subtract fractions, because remember, rational expressions are fractions with algebraic terms. So in this case, remember, first we will see today with common denominator. It will be very easy because remember, when two fractions have a common denominator, it's going to be very simple to add them or subtract them, because it's going to be only the final result will have the same denominator, and on the numerator we will add or subtract depending on the signs both numerators, or we can have more than two, both or more than numerators, and that will be the numerator part. The denominator, in this case, because we have a common denominator, it will stay exactly the same. So let's see. For this kind of exercise, it says we will add, subtract the numerators in order to have only one rational expression. So we will get some addition, subtraction to get a final rational expression. After having only one rational expression, we will try to simplify it. How do we simplify it? We have been seeing how to simplify rational expression in last videos. So remember, if we want to simplify rational expressions, we need factors. If something is adding or subtracting, we cannot eliminate it if it's not a factor. So let's see some exercise. The first exercise is going to be something like this. So what will happen here? In this one, of course, it will be 4x cubed as a denominator because it's common. What will happen? Maybe you can do it by mind. I will do it in 2 steps for explanation purposes. It's going to be 21m squared plus 7m squared. Remember, to be added or subtracted, they must have the same variable and the same power. So in this case, it's going to be 28m squared divided by 4x cubed. So here we can simplify it because 28 divided by 4, it's a whole number. So this one we can simplify it a little more, and it's going to be 7m squared divided by x cubed. And that will be my first answer. So this one is super simple because it's only how to add or subtract the numerators, and after that we will try to simplify it. We will see other example with monomials. So let's see, in this exercise we have a common denominator. So remember, if we have an addition or subtraction with a common denominator, it's going to be exactly the same denominator in the answer. What will happen next? It's going to be 7a cubed b minus 17a cubed b. Remember, we can do it by mind. I'm doing it like this for explanation purposes. So it's going to be minus 10a cubed b, all of it divided by 12a to the 4. So here we can do the prime decompositions of the numbers. So it's going to be minus divided by plus, it's going to be minus. The 10, it's 5 times 2. The 6, it's 2 squared times 3. It's going to be a cubed b, and it's going to be a to the 4. So what will happen next? These two with these two will disappear. So it's going to be minus 5 over 2 times 3, that is 6. A, it's going to be cubed minus 4, and b, it's going to be 1 minus 0. So it's going to be minus 5 over 6, a to the minus 1, b to the 1. So it's going to be, remember, we cannot have negative powers in the letters, so it's going to be minus 5b divided by 6a, and that will be our final answer. Remember, of course, in this kind of exercises, maybe we can do from this until here. Maybe we can do it by mind, and maybe also we can skip some of the specific steps I follow here because I'm following for explanation purposes. So let's see another example. So what will happen if we have three different fractions? Don't worry, it's exactly the same. Remember, we will have only a common denominator that is 6xy. In this case, it's going to be 7x cubed y squared minus 3x cubed y squared minus 2x cubed y squared. So in this case, I will do it by mind. 7 minus 3, it's 4. Minus 2, it's 2. So it's going to be 2x cubed y squared. Remember, to be added or subtracted, they must have the same letters and the same powers. All of it divided by 6xy. Maybe we can do the simplification by mind. I will do it in 2 steps for explanation purposes. It's going to be 2x cubed y squared 3 times 2xy. So we can eliminate these 2 with these 2. So the answer is going to be x cubed and x, it's going to be x squared on the numerator. Y squared minus y, it's going to be y in the numerator, and it's going to be all of it divided by 3. And this is going to be the final answer. So remember, it's very simple with monomials. We only need to add or subtract the numerators, and after that we need to or try to simplify if possible. So let's see other examples. So in the next exercise, it's going to be something like this. So in this case, we have monomial as a denominator, but we have polynomials in the numerator. So let's see how to do it. So in this case, of course, remember, we will have a common denominator that is going to be 15 x cubed y to the 4 c squared. So what will happen? It's going to be 8m x squared y to the third c plus 9x squared y to the third c minus, and it's going to be 4x squared y to the third c minus 2mx squared y to the third c. So what will happen here? It's that we will get 8mx squared y to the third c plus 9x squared y to the third c minus 4x squared. Remember, the minus after a parenthesis will change the sign of every term inside the parenthesis. 2mx squared y to the third c, all of it divided by 15x cubed y to the 4 c squared. So we need to look for like terms in order to get added or subtracted. So it's going to be this term with this term. So it's going to be 8 times 2. It's going to be 10 mx squared y to the third c. 9 minus 4, it's plus 5 x squared y to the third c. All of it divided by 15 x cubed y to the 4, y to the 4 c squared. So what can we do here? We cannot like erase this 10 with this 15 and this x squared with this x cubed, because on the top part we have an addition. So what do we need to do? We need to take out a common factor, because remember, to be eliminated we must have common factors. So on the top part is going to be as a common factor 5x squared y to the third c. So we will open up a parenthesis. To become the first one, we need 2m. To become the second one, we need only plus 1. All of it divided by 15 x cubed y to the 4 c squared. So what will happen here? 5 and 15, we can simplify that, and it's going to be only 3, I'm sorry, not 5. It's going to be 3 on the bottom, because 15 is 5 times 3, so the 5 with the 5 gets eliminated. What will happen with the x? It will stay on the bottom because it's x cubed minus x squared. What will happen with the y? Something very similar. It's going to be y to the 4, y to the third. What will happen to the c? It's 2, it's bigger on the denominator, so 2 minus 1, it's 1. And on the top part, we will get only 2m plus 1. And this is going to be our final answer. So if we have more than one term, like it's going to be a polynomial on the numerator part, what we need to do is we need to factorize it. Find a common factor in this case, but it can be any case of factoring. We will factorize it in order to simplify our final rational expression to get our answer. Let's see another and last example. So what will happen if we have something like this? Remember, in this case, we have a common denominator, so the common denominator will stay the same, 4x squared minus 1. What will happen? I will have 3x cubed plus 2x squared plus 5. After that, we have minus. Remember that minus will change the sign of every term after the minus sign. Maybe we can skip this little step. I'm putting it because it's so important, because so many people forget to change the signs of the 4 and the minus 5. They only change the sign of the minus 2, or the 2 I mean, to become a minus 2. So that's super important. If we have a minus, this minus will change the sign of this one, and this one. So that's why I'm putting this middle step that so many people skip. So let's see, it's going to be 3x cubed plus 2x squared plus 5 minus 2x squared minus 4 plus 5x cubed. All of it divided by 4x squared minus 1. So 2x squared minus 2x squared will disappear. We will do like term simplification, and it's going to be 5, this one, and this one, it's going to be 8x cubed. 5 minus 4, it's going to be plus 1. All of it divided by 4x squared minus 1. So what will happen here? We need to factorize, and we can factorize both the numerator as a sum of cubes and the denominator as a difference of squares. So if I factorize the denominator, it's going to be 2x plus 1. Remember, it's the square root of the one that do not change sign, and the square root of the one that changes sign, positive and negative, on both binomials. So the sum of cubes, it's going to be the cubic root of the first one, the sign, and the cubic root of the second one. If I have here positive and positive, the trinomial must be composed of positive, negative, and positive, and it's going to be the first one squared minus the multiplication of both of them, and finally the second one squared. So it's going to be something like this. So we can eliminate this 2x plus 1 with this 2x plus 1, and our final answer is going to be 4x squared minus 2x plus 1, all of it divided by 2x minus 1. Of course, maybe we can try to factorize the trinomial that it's on the numerator, but it is going to be impossible to factorize it. So that's why this is our final answer. So when we have polynomials in both numerator and denominator, it doesn't matter, it will be exactly the same. So maybe at the end, instead of only factoring the numerator, we will factorize the numerator and the denominator to see what is possible to simplify or cancel as a factor. So there is time for one last exercise. So in the next exercise, it's going to be something like this. Remember, if we have a common denominator, it will stay the same. Here maybe at the beginning, some of you can get confused because it doesn't look like a common denominator, but if we order, it's going to be the same. And it's going to be x squared minus 2x minus 3. What will happen on the numerator part? 6 plus 2x squared minus 3x minus all of them, x squared plus 3 plus x. Remember, everything after the minus sign will change the sign. So it's going to be 6 plus 2x squared minus 3x minus x squared minus 3 minus x, all of it divided by x squared minus 2x minus 3. So it's going to be 2x squared minus x squared minus 3x minus x minus 4x. 6 minus 3 is going to be plus 3. And on the bottom is going to be x squared minus 2x minus 3. So in this case, we have polynomials on both numerator and denominator, so we must try to factorize them. So let's check. On the first one is going to be x minus, two numbers that when they get added, it's 4. When multiplied, it's plus 3, minus 3, and minus 1. On the bottom, it's going to be x minus, x plus, two numbers that when they get added, it's minus 2. When multiplied, it's minus 3. It's minus 3 and plus 1. So we can eliminate the x minus 3, because it's a factor. So our final answer is going to be x minus 1 divided by x plus 1. Remember, here we have an addition and a subtraction, so it's impossible to cancel x and x or the minus 1 divided by 1, because in order to cancel, we must have factors and not addition and subtractions. So this is going to be our final answer. So that will be it for today's topic. That was addition subtraction of rational expressions with common denominator.